Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Olajide Bello. First, the headlines. Christian Association of Nigeria commiserate with the Muslim Ummah over Zaria mosque collapse. Russia warns against early military action against Niger, just as Nigeria embassy in Niamey debunks rumors over attack of its embassy. And the world marks World Youth Day. The collapsed building of Zaria Central Mosque has killed at least 10 worshippers and many others sustained injuries. The incidents occurred when worshippers were observing evening prayers of Asr. Suraj Abdullahi has details.
The collapsed Zaria Central Mosque, which occurred during the evening prayers of Asr, led to the death of 4 worshippers, while many others sustained various degrees of injuries. Emir of Zazzau, Malam Ahmad Nuhu Bamali, sympathized with the victims and said investigation will be carried out to ascertain the cause of the collapse and total number of victims.
I think about 4 people so far have died, unfortunately, including a blind man and some others. And I was made to understand that about 7 people have been taken to Zaria hospital, and we're waiting for my district heads and other lieutenants to come back to us with reports of what they've seen in the hospitals, because so many people came here to rescue the victims. So until we get the final report from the police as well as our people here, then we can determine how many people got injured, then how many people died.
Unconfirmed information reveals that the collapsed part is the old structure attached to the new design of the mosque to maintain history. From Zaria, Suraj Abdullahi, NTA News.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has expressed sadness over the death of some worshippers in the collapse of parts of the Zaria Central Mosque. Speaker Abbas, who represents Zaria Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, said he received the news of the unfortunate incident with shock, while calling for a full-scale investigation with a view to forestall future occurrence. In a condolence message by his special advisor on media and publicity, Musa Krishi, the speaker prayed for the repose of the souls of those who lost their lives and wishes the injured quick recovery. The Christian Association of Nigeria can extend heartfelt condolences to the Muslim Ummah in Zaria and the entire nation following the tragic loss of lives and injuries following the collapse of a section of the historic Zaria Central Mosque during Friday's prayer session. In a message signed by Archbishop Daniel Oko, president of the association, says, "It is with shock that the association received the news of the untimely demise of at least 10 worshippers and offer sincere prayers and condolences to the families who have lost their loved ones in this unfortunate incident." He also extends the thoughts and prayers to the 25 individuals who sustained injuries and pray for their quick and complete recovery. The Zaria Central Mosque holds significant historical and religious value, having stood as an important place of worship for over 150 years. Can recognize the deep attachment and emotional connection that the Muslim community has with the sacred place and share in their grief and loss. It commended the swift response of the relevant authorities and emergency services in rescuing survivors and providing necessary medical attention. They also urge governments and all relevant stakeholders to ensure a thorough investigation into the cause of these incidents with the aim of preventing such accidents in the future and ensuring the safety of worshippers in all places of worship across the country. Promoting public safety and internal security are major priorities of the federal government, and the Nigerian Police Force must not compromise this mandate. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this on the passing out parade of the 5th regular cadet course of the Nigerian Police Academy, Wudi, Kano State. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
This parade signifies the pipping and commissioning of 169 set of the 5th regular cadets of the Nigeria Police Academy within Kano State, with the composition of 139 males and 30 female cadets. ASP Israel Dawood of Law Department with CGPA 4.78 emerged the best graduating cadet, smiling home with different awards. Beyond the euphoria of a successful end for an academic journey, being just to all, promoting national security, and shunning corruption should be seen as core values.
Our dear cadets, I share in your enthusiasm to be commissioned into the Nigerian Police Force, and I assure you of the government's commitment to providing you with the avenue to serve the nation without sacrificing your dignity. Therefore, the task of handling these issues requires a set of well-trained officers with the right orientation, discipline, initiative, patriotism, and sound operational capacity. I am confident in the quality of training you have received over the past 5 years in this academy, and I believe you are adequately prepared to serve this country. May you all embark on this journey with courage and determination.
Interaction with the public is a perception shaper, which gives opportunity for the police to develop more confidence on the people, the Vice President Shatima advised.
We must treat all citizens fairly and uphold their human rights, regardless of background. Our actions must exemplify the highest ethical standards as we safeguard the rule of law. Together we embody the principles that define a trusted and responsible police force.
The Vice President commended the Police Academy for the giant efforts in ensuring the success of the 5th regular course.
With the commitment and continuous support of the federal government of Nigeria, the Academy is able to vigorously pursue policies that are purposely focused in transforming the Academy as one of the best police training institutions that takes the lead in innovative practices, research, training, modern policy, and quality education.
The 169 cadets pulled into the Nigerian police is part of efforts to reposition the force for service delivery. From the Police Academy in Wudil, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Respect for the fundamental rights of all citizens of state parties and the African Continental Free Trade Agreement must be strictly observed for the success of the project. Participants at the just concluded African Bar Association Conference conversed these points of view in Pretoria, South Africa. The Atomy of our Judiciary Desk reports.
Law plays a pivotal role in the regulation of human interactions in order to ensure peaceful coexistence in this society. The observance of the rights of the people who will be interfacing in the course of the implementation of the African Single Market reverberates at the 2023 African Bar Association Conference. Participants converse strong respect for the fundamental rights of all the people that will be participating in the project. The conference places premium on observance of the rights of the entire workforce in the continental single market. Respect for the fundamental rights of all parties in the African Continental Free Trade Agreement will place the project on a better pedestal in the world market.
For the African Continental Free Trade Agreement to work, there has to be a conducive condition for freedom of association, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, and so on and so forth. And a crisis situation, a conflict situation will certainly not allow these things to work.
And talking about military interventions and coups and its effect on after, business is better done in a secure, sedate environment. And definitely coups are an antidote to security. When a military government takes place, what happens first of all is that you could probably disclaim all the agreements the previous government has entered into, and there will be no respect for that agreement. And also military governments are non-consultative. They are totalitarian and arbitrary. No matter how much of a strong man a military head of state thinks he is, his government is ultimately fragile and unstable. Unstable because it becomes an everybody's game. How long is this government going to be there? When are we going to have the next military coup that's going to take this government out of place? And when it's taken out of place, what will be the fate of those agreements that we have signed with them? So all this pulls together creates an atmosphere of uncertainty and insecurity, which will make it impossible or more difficult for agreements like the African Continental Free Trade Agreement to be fully implemented.
The conference is of the view that African Union should evolve continental airline to facilitate transportation among state parties. The participants call for political will to mainstream the African continental single market and currency. From Pretoria, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Russia has warned that military action against coup leaders in Niger will lead to a protracted confrontation. Moscow has not formally backed the coup, but the collapse of Niger democracy risks pitting Russia against the West in the proxy standoff. Both France and the United States operate military bases in Niger, which have been used to launch operations against the jihadist groups present in the wider region. Supporters of the military junta have called on Western nations to leave the country and voice support for Russia. On Friday, protesters were seen chanting, "Down with France, down with ECOWAS" at a French base on the outskirts of the capital city, Niamey. Reports say some were carrying Russian flags and voiced support for Abdurrahman Tiani, the general now running the country. In a statement issued on Friday, Russia's foreign ministry warned other West African nations not to send troops to Niger. On Friday, the West African bloc, ECOWAS, approved a standby force in response to military takeover in Niger. And after nearly 3 weeks of appealing to the United States and other allies for help to restore Niger's president to power, friends and supporters of the democratically elected leader are making a simple plea: save his life. Justin Bemery reports on the concerns mounting over the well-being of Muhammad Bazoum and his family.
President Muhammad Bazoum, leader of the last remaining Western allied democracy across the vast stretch of Africa's Sahara and Sahel, sits confined with his family in an unlit basement of his presidential compound, cut off from resupplies of food and from electricity and cooking gas by the junta that overthrew him. Reports have it that this was revealed by Niger's ambassador to the United States. "They are killing him," said the ambassador, Mamadou Liman Tingweri, a close associate who maintains daily calls with the detained leader. The two have been colleagues for 3 decades, since the now 63-year-old president was a young philosophy instructor, a teachers' union leader, and a democracy advocate noted for his eloquence. The plan of the head of the junta is to starve him to death, Liman Tingweri told Associated Press in one of his first interviews since mutinous troops allegedly cut off food deliveries to the president, his wife and 20-year-old son almost a week ago. "This is inhuman, and the world should not tolerate that," the ambassador said. "It cannot be tolerated in 2023. Bazoum sits in the dark basement," the ambassador said. He answers the phone when a call comes in that he knows to be his friend or someone else he wants to speak to. The beleaguered president and his ambassador, whom junta members have declared out of a job, talk 1 or more times a day. He has not been seen out in public since July 26, when military vehicles blocked the gates to the presidential palace and security forces announced they were taking power. It is not possible to independently determine the president's circumstances. The United States, UN and others have expressed repeated concern for what they called Bazoum's deteriorating conditions in detention and warned the junta they would hold it responsible for the well-being of Bazoum and his family. Separately, Human Rights Watch said Friday it had spoken directly to the detained president and to others in his circle, and received some similar accounts of mistreatment. However, an activist who supports Niger's new military rulers in its communication said the reports of the president's dire state were false. Insa Garba Saidu said he was in contact with some junta members but did not say how he had knowledge of the president's lot. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
The Nigerian embassy in Niamey has described as fake the video circulating showing the torching of the Chancery building in Niamey by protesters on various social media platforms. The embassy wishes to inform the general public that even though protesters tried to gain access to the embassy on 30th July 2023, the Nigerian military and police authorities promptly curtailed the situation. At the moment, the embassy is well guarded by the Nigerian military and other security authorities, reiterating that the videos are fake. And as such, the general public is enjoined to disregard such videos. You're watching the news on NTA International. More reports when we return.
Nigeria means a lot to me.
And Nigeria means peaceful cohesion.
My country.
We continue to pray, and then hopefully we will come to understand that unity of purpose, unity of living together. Our ethnic beliefs and background and culture is our strength.
Ever since the amalgamation period of 1914 to date, about 109 years ago, the people of Nigeria live very peacefully with one another.
I think diversity helps a lot to enhance robust development in Nigeria.
All over the country, you have so many ethnic groups, over 250. That is enough to tell you that this is a blessed country, and that God has kept, together as one indivisible entity.
Glad to know you're still there. Despite the great recognition of the relevance of green skills available, evidences show a shortage of such skills among young people. The skills gap represents an obstacle for young people as the world shifts towards a green economy. In this report, Olayinka Ojo takes a look at what young people say must be done to address this line with the theme of the 2023 International Youth Day celebration, Green Skills for Youth Towards a Sustainable World.
In 1999, the United Nations General Assembly endorsed the recommendation by the World Conference of Ministers of Youths at Lisbon, where 12th August was declared International Youth Day. And in the last 2 decades, themes for the celebration focused on mental health, intergenerational solidarity, safer spaces for youths, and civic engagement. Today, the world is embarking on a green transition, and the shift towards an environmentally sustainable and climate-friendly world is critical not only in response to the global climate crisis, but also for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals.
It is time, therefore, for all of us here in this room to get united for action.
Stakeholders are concerned and do not want more than 60% of young people to lack skills required to thrive in the green economy by 2030.
Investing in youth education, skills development, and meaningful engagement is imperative.
Please jettison the idea of illegal migration. Look inwards. The solution to your challenges are here in Nigeria.
A successful transition towards a greener world that depends on the development of green skills that will support a sustainable and resource-efficient society is the focus now.
We as young people understand these problems better because these problems actually impact us. Our futures are at stake here. We're also poised with the sustainability, eco skills, and technology to solve these problems.
We have about 8.4 million jobs that these green skills will create. Digitalize most of the things that we do.
Since young people must be put at the center of creating positive change in the world, here is what Nigerian youths are advocating for.
Let's have a government that is accountable, and let's also give youth an opportunity to lead and thrive.
There's also need to also impact young people out there with relevant, transferable, whether hard and soft skills.
Providing inclusive education, access to public building, including persons with disability in decision and government-making tables.
And now, the world has just 7 years left to make the SDGs a reality. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
And joining us from Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso venue of the celebration marking the International Youth Days, Oladele John, Vice President, West African Pan-African Youth Union. Oladile John, you're welcome to the studios.
Thank you very much, and happy International Youth Day celebration.
I wish you same. Now let's set the ball rolling. What is the rationale and accruable benefits of the World Youth Day celebration?
Understanding the importance of youth in the world, the United Nations decided to set out a day to celebrate the youth all over the world. As you know, by the United Nations definition and even the Africa Youth Charter, a youth is someone between the age of 18 and 35. So considering the massive population and impact of the youth in the world, it is important to set out a day which has now been decided to be the 12th of August every year to mark the International Youth Day. Part of the benefit is that every year, as you see, we have teams for the year where we discuss topical issues that affect the youth, topical issues that are also projections of what are expected of youth all over the world. And particularly in Africa, we are very much delighted with the theme for this year, because as you are aware, Africa is a youthful populated continent with over 65% of our population as young people. So it's very important that we have this day to celebrate youth and also to charge the youth on what is expected of them.
Okay, unemployment is a major challenge all over. With this year's theme, what are the chances of employment in this environmentally sustainable world?
Actually, the theme for this year, which is bring job for youth as a sustainable for the world, is actually something that is quite different from the usual unemployment talks all over. Unemployment in itself is not just peculiar to Africa or peculiar to Nigeria. It's something that is a global pandemic. But for this year, we will begin to talk about what are even the basic knowledge, what are the basic skills, what are the things that are needed for young people in order to be able to add to the development of the world in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. All over the world, there are a series of unemployment, but we begin to look, what are the things that we, the young people, can do by ourselves? What are the skills that we can have by ourselves in order to be able to take care of ourselves? Aside looking for the white-collar job, aside looking for jobs in companies, what are the things that you can do? What are the inbuilt skills that you have? What are the skills that you can also acquire by yourselves in order to be able to contribute your quota, not just to the world, not just to your nation, not just to your country, but also to be self-sustaining, to be able to take care of yourself.
All right, Oladile, very quickly now. Every day, youths are referred to as leaders of tomorrow. Is it relevant in today's world? What should we be doing? Very quickly.
Of course, a lot of us have countered that assertion that youth are the leaders of tomorrow. We are now going with the new norm that youths are actually the leaders of today. Because looking at the assertion, youth are the leaders of tomorrow, most of those who are leaders today has actually refused to even quit the stage for the young people. But we believe very importantly that the young people are, as of today, all over the world, are contributing their quota. Here in Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso, we today engage the military leader who is just 35 years old, and we are asking what is the rationale behind a military takeover? What are the things that necessitated to this? And part of the responses is bad leadership. Most of the leaders we have are actually not doing what is expected of them, and then these kind of issues like military takeover are happening. As much as we condemn it, listening to some of the rationale behind it, we know very well that young people must come together to fight against bad leadership. Young people must come together to also look at an alternative route to engaging in more productive ventures rather than encouraging military takeover, like what is happening in Niger, what happened in Mali. These are some of the things that we personally condemn. But what causes this is as a result of bad leadership.
Many thanks, Oladele. So sorry, we have to cut you short at this moment. And I've been talking to Oladele John, the Vice President, West Africa Pan-African Youth Union. Many thanks for your input.
Thank you.
And moving on now, Africa Youth Growth Foundation is lending its voice to the global campaign for youth emancipation and development. With unemployment rate at over 22% this year's International Day, shifting global attention to building an environmentally sustainable world and create job opportunities with the theme Green Skills for Youth. Executive Director of Africa Youth Foundation believes that with about 70% population, Nigerian youths have a lot to do in the leadership and governance. Our security is everybody's business is a cliche commonly used in the local parlance to drive and encourage inclusion of the people. But to achieve this objective, observers often make cases for continuous sensitization to encourage participation. For this reason, the Meet and Impact Initiative is looking to drive sensitization through humanitarian efforts. Onotu Yakubu brings us an insight on a visit to Tasha community in Kabusa FCT.
Tasha is agrarian, and the valley flanks Amak through the eastern borders between FCT and Nasarawa states. With boundary communities constantly utilized by suspected criminal bandits to infiltrate the territory, Meet and Impact is looking to utilize the tools of drama and storytelling to drive sensitization initiatives in support for general enhancement of security.
They should understand that knowing your neighbor goes a long way. When you say, I'm minding my business, no, in this society where we are, we have to be an eye for each other, and we must understand that we cannot achieve anything in our society in the absence of peace.
If something happen with your colleague, with your neighbor, if you hear noise, at least come out and see what is happening with your neighbor.
Security awareness dance. And for the old and young, the message sank in well, judging by the affirmation made by 13-year-old Daniel Danlami's response.
Security means how to save each other. I will shout for help so that they can come and help us.
Realization for safety. The group also presented humanitarian relief to the downtrodden members of the community. From Tasha, Kabusa and Amak, Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
And up next is Sunday's weather prospects for Nigeria and other parts of the world. And that's the news in NTA International. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.